Welcome back. Thank you for joining us for round two. This is Canadian Disc Golf Productions, Highlands Nordic. This is the Peace Bridge Open, and we're looking at the FPO coverage. Look at that beautiful view. Up in Highlands Nordic. Thank you to the Peace Bridge Disc Golf Foundation. They are looking to provide courses and funding for youth and women's disc golf. Our sponsors, the ODSA, PDGA Canada, and Four Fathers Brewing. Big shout out to Four Fathers. They've been sponsoring our whole series in Ontario this year. Patrick is not here right now, so it's just me. You get all Colleen, all front nine. So we've got, you know the crew by now, me, Brianna. We've got Kat Johnson, looking fresh in her diameter apparel. Erica Tucker, and she's coming back out of retirement. We're so excited to have her. And a new kid on the block, Alicia Hums. You're gonna hear a lot about her. She is awesome. Thank you to Starting Lineup Uniforms and Apparel. So this is hole one, 255 feet. We are throwing down to this basket you're gonna see here, just in the trees at the back. So same as the first round, we don't wanna go left. We don't wanna go too far left. There is some water over there. Most of us throwing backhand. We saw Brianna do the forehand, so we'll see if we see any more forehands on this hole. And we're just looking to come in right under this basket, maybe hit one of these trees, maybe hit a tree ace. So I'm up here throwing my Truth. That disc has two aces on it so far. I was looking for a third. This is Kat Johnson throwing for Prodigy. Very nice. A little understable, so it's got that nice S bend on it. Got Alicia up next. And just hooking it a little left. We're hoping she stays in bounds there. It does take quite a bit to get to the water. Oh, Erica with that nice bounce. That was beautiful. Got that tree love. And now we have Brianna Ainsley throwing her forehand. And a little high. So when it's up that high, it's going to air out a little. Looks like Alicia did end up going to the drop zone there. So she's just throwing it up there so she can do a nice tap in. Brianna getting right down to her knee here with a nice forehand, forehanding this whole hole. Again, I love seeing these ladies doing the forehand. I wish I was better at it, but it's so inspiring to see. I hope it inspires you back home. Ooh, and Erica just missing a little low, but that line was on point. Just so frustrating when that happens. This is Kat for her birdie putt. And just went a little bit deep. We hit the bridge there and kind of trickled a little far back. Oh, what a great attempt. And I'm in a similar spot just ahead of where she is, going for my birdie putt as well. And an air ball. We all have those. All right. And Brianna tapping in her par. We'll have Erica tapping in her par. And a few cleanups here. So Kat will be tapping in her par as well. And it's nice on these first few holes too. Just par out. I know we all want to birdie those easy holes, but it is a relief when you're starting your round again to just get that in. Alicia taking a double bogey there. All right, and we're on to hole 2. Dustin Wallace. Thank you so much to Dustin. Go check him out if you're in need of a truck. This is hole 2, 283 feet. It's a par 3. We are going uphill, so the incline makes it a little bit farther than it actually is. It says 283 feet, but that will be to the first basket. I think that's to the first basket. We're going up to the second basket. That's a little bit higher and to the right. So the first round, we all went to this yellow one, and this round we're going up to the red. And it is a little bit more of a placement shot. It is very hard to get that much height. So we're looking to really just park the yellow and have kind of a direct uphill putt for maybe a birdie or a nice layup for a par. I'm throwing my escape a little bit understable. It helps me go a little bit straighter when going uphill. So if you're throwing nose up, try throwing understable. Helps a lot. And we've got Kat Johnson here. It looks like Kat's throwing maybe a D1 or a D2, and it's just fading out to the left a little bit. So she's going to be in almost the same spot she was the first round. And that was something I was scared of, going a little too far right. There is that tree there, and it leaves you quite short, but you do have a really good look at the basket. Brianna's drive coming in just a little low. It was a great line. If it was a little bit higher, it would have gotten up over that hill for her and hyzered back a little bit even. And Alicia getting the right height on it, turning it over, hyzering back. That is ideal. So this is where Erica landed. It is quite short, but she has a nice look up at the basket. She's just looking to hyzer this over the trees here. And it did hyzer. It's probably in a spot that not a lot of people have been. That is Brianna doing her upshot there, and Kat going for her upshot. It's a very hard upshot because she's going quite uphill after this. It's a beautiful forehand. She's going to be right near the basket there. This is Alicia for her second shot. Just a very nice, safe, right up there. And me as well. If this tree wasn't in the way, I think both of us would have run it a little bit more. But just settling for our easy tap in and no stress par. All right, so yes, this is where Erica landed. A little bit long on the basket, and actually, if she went a little bit longer, she might have ended up on the roof of that building there. So thankfully going to be right there for her 4. And just cleaning it up for our pars. We had some beautiful weather. I was there on the Saturday, and man, was it windy. So I know the trees are moving quite a bit in this, but it was twice as bad the day before. And me and Kat joking about going at the same time there. Even if you're 2 feet apart, you can joke about it, but don't do it. Top of the Line Roofing, thank you so much for sponsoring this event. We really appreciate your support. Please go back and support our sponsors as well. Hole 3, we have 284 feet, but it actually feels pretty accurate, but might play a little bit shorter because it is so downhill. It does a very unique bend down and then back up. In the middle here, you can see a little bit of the creek going through, so you don't want to land short. And then you can see the right side is very thick. The left side is very open. So we're really looking to maybe throw at these left side trees, maybe do a little bit of a turnover, but ending up making sure our discs are gonna hyzer back at least. I'm throwing, again, my escape disc I definitely leaned on throughout this event. And I could not see where that landed. It looked like it went way too far right, so I was a little worried about that. And Kat looking like she's throwing, I think that was a D. That was the same one she threw before. It might have been a D3 or a D4. And as you can see up there, just perfectly landed in those trees. Looks a lot farther away from the basket than it is. Brianna, I believe, throwing her Roadrunner. Very unlucky. That was looking like a great shot. Might have been going for that ace run again. Alicia throwing a little high, so it had too much time to air out, but she is going to be in the thin of those trees, which is nice. Like we said, the right side, very dangerous. Left side's pretty open to get up and down. Ooh, and Erica correcting from last time, doing a beautiful flip on that disc and hitting one of those trees to stop her. She's going to be right near the basket as well. So Alicia's shot actually went long through those trees, fought through somehow. So she had a little birdie putt there, but still quite a distance. And this is Brianna for her birdie as well. Beautiful. Kat coming in with her birdie putt as well, and this is quite close. Like I said, it looks farther than you are. Once you get up to the basket, you're like, oh, I'm very close. I thought I was farther away. So it's very nice to walk up and see that. A beautiful putt right in the middle. Awesome. And one more birdie putt. Excellent. Erica's probably super happy about that. The first round, she got on that road and had a little trouble. So coming back for a birdie the next time is very satisfying. And that was 4 birdies and a par. I don't know if you could play that hole better. Four Fathers Brewery, thank you. This is the Ace Bounty hole. They've been doing this at every event we've had so far. So if you hit the ace, I believe it was you gain entry to win a pound bag, plus the ace pool that you win. So it is a very exciting ace. And this is an uphill shot. What you don't see is that snow fence on the ground is behind the basket right now. So we are trying to go high, maybe turn it over a little, not as much as I did there, but hyzer it in at that basket. Because it's uphill, I tend to throw understable discs, just because when you do throw it in a little bit nose up, like we mentioned on hole 2, it helps it to stay straight instead of just hyzering out like Cats did there. The only risk is what I did, where you turn it over, and you definitely don't want that here. Brianna just pumping it. She really wants the ace on this one. That was beautiful. She's right up there for the birdie putt. Erica doing the same thing she did the first round. I know she's a little frustrated about that. And Alicia just ripping it. This is the almost the exact same shot she did the first round. She's very consistent at this hole. I think all around she has such a consistent game. Erica doing a nice little kind of bid, kind of layup. It's when we can't really decide. Kind of half go for it. And we'll see. Is Kat going to go for it? Is she going to lay up? What's she going to do? A nice layup. The risk with this basket, because it's so high and it's a hill, you could end up rolling all the way back down to the tee pad. I heard that day that there was someone who rolled past the tee pad. So it's definitely something you want to eliminate all possibility of. So laying up is sometimes the smartest move. Oh, and those branches just got her. Very good run. This is Brianna for her birdie as well. Just over. Definitely wanted that one for her. Great comebacker. And it looks like we'll probably just have a bunch of tap-ins here for par. Sometimes I complain about it being boring golf because it's not as exciting. I mean, even if you're doing terrible and you're having crazy things happen and rollaways and things like that, it is still less boring than just pars and pars and pars. And it's nice getting back in the groove where we don't have to wait for our putter to get taken out. You can see us laughing and high-fiving and fist bumping. I've honestly never been on a card with so much high fives. It was wonderful. And this is hole 5. Dunshire Golf Course sponsoring this hole right next door. They were also sponsoring the event by providing memberships for the winners of all the amateur divisions. So that is very cool. If you get a chance, go out, maybe go play a few holes, and then go play disc golf after. It's great. So this hole, 332 feet. It's not very narrow, but it is narrow enough to be uncomfortable. And it is a very tough shot to get that far without having too much hyzer or turn on your disc. So a lot of us are trying to hyzer flip something understable, throwing it down the left side so it has the space to come back to the right, a little like this, and try and stay as in the middle as you can. So that just stayed on the edge there. That's not too far in. And just a little bit left. I love all the routines people do when they walk up, and you often see people holding that disc up aiming where I'm assuming it's aiming where you want to let go. And just, again, same as Kat, we're trying to use that left side as much as we can because we are trying to throw something that's going to turn over. But like I said, it's narrow. And it's pretty intimidating to try and go that straight. That was amazing. Erica is so good at going straight. Just looks like effortless power. And a great drive. Just a little high. So this is a great example of the height playing a lot into your game. If she was throwing that a little bit lower, it wouldn't have had as much time to go to the left. That was a beautiful forehand from Kat. Just amazing to have that kind of control. She clearly threw something overstable, anting it a little so it would come back. Nice flex and using the fairway. Brianna's upshot just going a little right, but she is in the circle, so she'll have a great putt there. And Erica's just checking out the wind. Always take everything you can into account. Sometimes I see a lot of new players not wanting to do this kind of thing because they're worried that they're taking too much time. Let the card tell you that. Sometimes it's so important for you to check the wind like that. Or take a few steps up and the putt feels a lot closer, and look at that. It was worth it. So parked. So I know Alicia wanted that a little bit farther. It's a little frustrating when we do that. Again, take your time. Make sure you are in the right mental game. Nobody's walking behind if that kind of thing bothers you. Try to have rounds where you razz your friends and learn how to not let anything distract you or get in your way. And I think that drive was closer than the first round. So that was my best attempt at a birdie on this hole. So this hole is very challenging for us as a par 3. Not quite hard enough to be a par 4. Definitely not far enough, but it is a very challenging hole to get a birdie on. And this is Kat putting for her par here. Oh, so close. That was a beautiful line.
Oh my God.
And we've got Brianna putting for her par as well. Oh, and right height, right power. And correcting it there. I know it's frustrating, but it's important to make those corrections to feel good going into the next putt. And that was a solid comebacker. Erica having to mark her mini almost against the basket there. That was a beautiful upshot from her. So Erica's tapping in her par, her 3, and this will be Kat for a 4. And we're just going to clean this up. All right. And like I said, I mean, it looks like such an easy hole. The distance doesn't look far, but it is tough. Big shout out to Boston Pizza, sponsoring hole 6. They gave us some coupons in our players packs, and that was awesome. Thank you to them. Make sure you use those. Go out and support them. Get some pizza after your round. So this hole is a challenge, and you might see the basket coming up here that we are not going to. So just a reminder, we did not play that basket the whole tournament. Other divisions did, and that's why it stayed there, not covered up or anything. And so we are just going past that basket, and it is farther up and to the left. So the first round, we all really struggled on this hole, except for Brianna. She had an amazing birdie on this hole. So we are looking to kind of correct a little bit. I definitely overcorrected and went a little right. But we saw lots of us go early left, so I think we're all trying to fix that a little bit. And a little bit of it is because of where the tee pad is. There is a root right beside Erica's foot there. And it makes the tee pad a little bit unbalanced. So when you're moving, your body is going more up and down than it normally would. It throws you off a little bit. You might take a bigger step or trip a little bit. So we're kind of trying to stick to the right side of the tee pad there. So Erica just went in very close to where I went. Kat getting a beautiful drive off. I know she's a little left, but that was great. Staying as in the fairway as you can is the whole goal here. Let's see if Brie can do it again. Pop out. I think it might have just stuck in there a little bit. Hopefully she has a nice line so she doesn't have to pitch right out. And the snap that Alicia got there was amazing. So she's on the fairway as well. Again, just on the edge like Kat here, but that's sometimes the best you can do. Trying to keep it low, trying to keep it in the middle. Kat's going to pull out one of her forehands. And just so unlucky. That was looking amazing. So I'm stuck in this little triangle of trees here. And I'm just trying to pitch out. Like pitch up, not necessarily just throw it 10 feet, but get up as far as I can while still using a putter so it doesn't go anywhere. And this was really hard. I just had a little gap here. But that was definitely the best distance I was going to get there. So Erica's in a similar position, but she's a little bit left of where I was standing. And it doesn't look different, but she has a much harder gap to get through. Where I had a gap, she has all these little trees in her way here. So again, she's probably just going to bite off as much as she can while still kind of pitching up. And almost going in that basket. So she's more on the fairway now, and that's a little bit better for her next shot. So this is Brianna for her third shot. And she does it again. Ladies and gentlemen, Brianna Ainsley has uphill tunnel shots dialed in. That was amazing. So that was pretty much, if you go back, that was pretty much exactly the same shot she threw the first round. She just had to pitch out there, which is unfortunate, but she's just playing this hole so well. And I am sure that is a little bit of footing, a little bit of it being uphill, but just pulled that super right. There's a path there, so she might be a little bit open. We'll have to see where she ended up. But Alicia was definitely not liking that shot. What a shot from Kat. Just a little bit right, but it looks fairly up there, so hopefully she'll have a putt. And Erica's here throwing for 3. Just parking it. Looks like she might have pulled something there, kind of stretching it out. We do everything to our bodies in disc golf, anything we need to get that shot. And I'm throwing my truth again here. And it does look parked, but I will, spoiler alert, it is not parked. And Alicia, I was thinking she had gone through to the path that's on the other side. I think she actually went and got stuck and stopped by a tree. So she's pitching out again. And now she at least has a better look at the basket from here, so she can at least run it a little bit more. And she'll just be up there for her putt. So there's a little casual kind of gully here. Not really much water in it, but definitely a little ditch for us to fall into. And that just leaked a little left. You can see me super disappointed there. At least hit the basket. When you hit the basket, you always feel a little bit better. So Kat was pin high. She's just in these bushes and looking like a little bit of a hard putt. Particularly the footing is tough there. It was a great run. Good try. All right, and that's Brianna for her 4. Alicia tapping it in for a 6. Me as well for a 5. And those are some tough numbers to swallow normally, but to be honest, this is one of the, in my opinion, it's one of the hardest holes on the course. It certainly played as one of the hardest holes for us. Great par there from Erica as well. And Kat tapping in her 5 as well. So Kat and myself will take a bogey, and Alicia will take a double bogey. And we're going to walk away and forget about that hole. The next hole is sponsored by HP. Thank you so much. Check them out. I know everyone has a printer at home. Need ink, need paper. This hole is a nice relief after that really long one. We did pretty well with it the first round. I think all of us are standing on this tee pad thinking of how we can get it more parked and closer to the basket. It is a very touchy distance where you don't really want to throw something too far, and you really want that disc to do all the work to come back to the left. Me and Patrick were talking about how the ace on this hole might actually be the skip shot, and that's I was telling him that Chris Thompson was on our card caddying, and we were talking about whether we should go high or low. So Erica kind of went pretty high, like middle high. She didn't go too high, but she's certainly gonna let the disc go to the left in that sense, and same with Brianna as well. Oh, just caught that tree. But that's the right height to get the disc to go left, where you don't have to rely too much on your throw, and it's more so the disc just fading at the end. So I'm throwing my Firebird. I'm trying to skip it off. It looks like it gets a pretty good skip, but I think a little bit more left before it skips is the key. So I know I threw a Firebird. I believe this is a D1 for Kat. And I like how she turned it over a little and it hyzered back, but I like the height she put on it. And I know Alicia was also throwing a Firebird prior on this hole, so I believe maybe the same thing again. But that just went a little bit early for her. Sometimes you can fight through pretty good, though. Brianna going to her Berg. She is phenomenal. We've mentioned her Berg flick putts, and they are so good. Very clutch for her. Everyone needs to have a good emergency flick. But she really does well with that Berg. Alicia having really no other choice there. She's like me. We don't forehand that much, and just opting to kind of pitch up a little and at least have a putt. So this is Kat's drive. She's putting for birdie. Oh, and just I love the loft on that putt. Just a little right, but you can see the control on the distance for her. So she knows she's not going to go too far. And she's hoping it has the right power to just drop in. I'm a big fan of lofty putts. Oh, Erica giving a great bid there for her birdie. And she ended up back in those bushes both times. So I think we found, Erica, you have too much power for this hole. She's going to have to maybe find a mid-range to get her there instead. This is Alicia for her 3. Oh, and just barely missing the chains there. And this is me as well for my birdie. And the skip actually skipped me. It must have skipped me straighter. Ooh, and also just missing the chains. So we learned on this hole, go higher, let the disc do the work. Don't try to skip. It's not going to have enough momentum to go that left. Just tapping in the par there. That's not a tapping, but putting in the par. Alicia having a tough time on this hole, but she's tapping in that 5. A par from Erica, and we can see we got 2 more pars on the ground there. One from Bree and one from Kat. So we got 4 pars, and a double bogey. And it's unfortunate because this is one of those holes that you go to and you're so excited for it. Because as a backhand player and a righty, this is like the shot that we were all good at when we started. This was the only thing we could do, hyzer. So hard to not take a birdie there. You pick parties, all your party needs, check them out. Thank you so much for sponsoring our event. And this is hole 8. From the same tee pad we played in round 1. However, it is a different par. So the first round, this was a par 4. And this round, this is a par 3. The first round, you saw all the ladies get over this tall grass. This tall grass is OB. There is a drop zone off to the left. But we do all have the distance to make it. But as you can see, it's not a lot of distance between the tall grass and those trees. So it is a very touchy distance for us. We're putting full power, trying to get a little bit of a flex on our drive to really flip it over and get that extra distance. And this is Erica up first, just bombing like she does. And it's just landing left of those trees. She's kind of in the middle of the 2 zones you want to be in, but she should be able to get up and down from there. Brianna turning it over a little extra so she can land right in the middle. Very nice landing. Very hard to get your disc to not turn over too much or turn over just enough. So I believe that was her Roadrunner as well. And this is my pro turn. Annied it, and it just sailed that way. I was a little worried I might hit Nathaniel over there spotting for us. Thank you, by the way, to all of the Rentons. After their rounds, Mike, Jane, and Nathaniel were out spotting, caddying, cheering everyone on. They were here both days, so that was really wonderful to have that kind of support from the players. And a beautiful drive from Kat. She was a little worried about the distance, but we kept trying to tell her she can bomb. She can make that go for it, but that was a more comfortable line for her to ensure she got over that grass. And Erica turning it over just like I did, but it's high enough that it has the time to come back. And that is going to be similar to Bree's shot, just beautiful in that little gap. Have a nice look at the basket. So Kat ended a little early, so she's left of that gap. So she's trying to go through those trees. And it is scary. It looks like you're just throwing up branches. So she's going for try number 2 here. Just pop out over top of that. And the basket is just over those bushes. Alicia landing a little bit left of the gap I was talking about, but a nice little hyzer there. She'll have a putt. And Erica is right next to that tree that Kat just hit. So similar situation, try and go through those bushes and just get as close as you can to the basket.
They're liked as like ideal summer.
And I am just a little bit deep of the basket, so a little bit to the right of where we saw from the tee pad. But a similar position as round 1. And just an unlucky roll away there. Just tried to lay it up and got bit by the rollaways. Oh, Brianna leaning on that berg and almost making the 2. Incredible shots from Brianna with that berg. So this is Kat going for her 4. And a beautiful putt. So it's funny because round 1, that would have been a par. And Brianna would have been going for an eagle there. But this round, again, unfortunately, that's a bogey because we are playing the gold layout. And Alicia, this is for her par. And she crushes it. That was a solid putt. Nice and low, just over the rim. And the power that was on that was so confident. Erica getting her 3, crushing it. Another solid putt. And I'm trying not to be phased by the rollaway. I'm just missing a little low. I think I was more phased by the rollaway than I wanted to be. And just a great tap in for Bree. So again, that would have been a birdie for Bree, but it ends up being a par because of the par 3. And I would have had a par there, but it ends up being a bogey. So this next hole is sponsored by TopLink. TopLink has been sponsoring events all around Ontario with a TopLink Ace hole. So if you ace the hole, I believe this is a $2,000 bounty. As far as I know, it has not been hit this year at any of the events that TopLink has run, or sponsored. This is an island, so it makes it a little bit harder for you to be able to ace because it is a little scary. This blue border outlines the island, and we're really trying to, regardless if you're lefty or righty, you're trying to hyzer in here, but it's a very precarious tee pad. So as you saw when Erica threw there, the tee pad actually wobbled a little, and that was beautiful. It looks parked. We'll have to see when we get up there, but we've got a spotter, and they said good to go. So she is very pleased. And you see Brianna checking her footing there. I believe she's throwing her Shrike. It's a star Shrike. And just looks like it's a little too low, but we've heard a lot of stories about people skipping in off those blue ramps. So possible inbounds. We'll have to see when we get up. And a beautiful shot from Alicia, but I think it's quite left of where she wanted to let go. So it had a nice height, a nice hyzer, nice power. But as you can see, it finished left of the island. And I'm just trying to replicate the first round, so I threw Thunderbird. I can see that blue post up there, but I'm not 100% sure if I am in or out. It looked into me, but we will see. And Kat throwing hers in. A nice hyzer there. Oh, and we got a wave from them and some claps from Kat. So she must be in. So Brianna, first one up at the drop zone. Brianna's ended up a little bit right and short. Or I think it was just a little right. It wasn't short. Good run from Brianna, though. I like the height, the power. Very committed to it. When you have nothing really behind and there's no risk of it rolling away, you might as well run it, right? And Alicia, just a little wobble. Sometimes that wobble can be because we weren't gripping it hard enough or properly, but just a little wobble that slowed her putt down there. And I definitely tried to run that, but it did not look like it. That was not a good attempt at a run. So we can see Erica and Kat both made it into the island. And Kat's going to be putting for her birdie from here. And just low. But a great line. This is Erica for her birdie as well. Just beautiful. That's a great birdie to get. That's the only one in the day for the FPO field. I got in the first round, but I did not make the birdie and nobody else got in. And then this round, only 2 people making it in and 1 birdie coming out. So that was a challenging hole for our birdies. Challenging hole really for our par as well. You see Kat and Chris just talking about her putts there. I can see him bending his knees a lot. I don't know if his advice is to use your legs more, but that tends to be what I do when I start missing low like that. If you're right on the line and you're missing low, it could be just engaging your lower body a little bit more. making sure that your whole body is in that movement. But who knows? We'll have to ask Kat about that later. And the Peace Bridge Highlands sponsoring this hole 10. This is a beast. I have never played this tee pad before, so this year was my first time. And I kept talking to Brianna about how hole 10 was my favorite hole. And she's going, you're crazy. But as you can see, this tee pad off to the right here is the regular standard tee pad. And it's just such a fun hyzer downhill. But now, you know, with that longer tee pad, it makes it a little bit more scary and a little harder to get there. But it does allow for it to become a par 4 at this point. Because the first shot is kind of a layup, it does really make this a true par 4. So we're all trying to get out to that tee pad, down this hill to the basket, try and tap in a birdie 3 if we can. But this first shot is so key. Erica hit that bush. She just fell down right there, so she's not too bad. If you're going to hit inside this tunnel, it is definitely better to hit on the right side. Because you're hyzering down the hill, if you're on that right side, it's going to make it a lot easier for you to get down the hill instead of having to just pitch out. And Kat just threading the needle here. Oh, and just hits at the end. She rolled out enough that she might have a pretty decent lie there, but she is not quite out of the tunnel. Brianna throwing a forehand here. I'm going to assume that was a layup. So she's throwing it low, as you could see, because a lot of people might think forehand is not what they'd go to on this. But it is a smart play if your forehand is your most accurate, most comfortable shot there. And a beautiful shot from Alicia. That might be the best shot so far. And just right, it looks like it got right up there and right in the middle. She's going to have a nice up shot. And I'm trying to do the same as Brie, go low, but I also clipped the bushes and I'm also short. I'm just in front of her there. So it looks like we're going down this tunnel straight ahead. We are not. We are going left of that tunnel. So it's a very hard bend. So right where Brianna's disc is going. And because of the downhill, that's just going to carry and then fade out of it. That was a beautiful shot. A great way to use the downhill and to also use the Annie on your forehand. Erica, unfortunately, in the bushes a little bit there, but getting a nice pitch out. So she'll have a beautiful spot for her next shot. I've decided to not take my medicine. I really liked what Brianna did. I do not have as good of an angle as her because I am closer. So I'm going to have to cut it harder, which might not be possible. And I am hoping that just rolled all the way down. That was a Waka Waka, so very understable mid-range. Didn't really have to turn it over too much, and it just kind of sails. And Kat doing an amazing forehand as well. She's pulled that out a few times now for some really clutch shots. Now, Erica having laid up, this is for 3, so she's still looking to save her par here. Maybe throw it in from here, but certainly to save her par. And she wanted to go over those trees, but she just clipped them, and I believe probably fell down into them a little bit. They're not too bad, but it's frustrating because you're not going to have a putt or anything from there. And Alicia just doing it didn't hyzer enough. She's going to want to be more left than that. But she'll have a outside the circle putt. And sorry, that was for Alicia's 2. I'm just laying up as close as I can there. Erica just trying to punch through. So that was just off to the left of where Brianna is where Erica was in those trees. Oh, and Brianna running it for a 3. That was an amazing upshot. That's where she landed on her second shot. Oh, and a great run. That was for Kat for her, I believe her 3 as well. And Alicia just had a mash of a drive. She was so far up there on her drive that this is actually, she's almost laying that up for her tap in 4. I mean, she was in a tough spot there, but just an amazing drive.
Oh, man.
So great story here. I might have had a little bit of chirping from some guy who was also playing, and he almost aced the wrong hole by accident and had to wait for us to putt out. So he said something like, "I know you're upset, but that made me feel better when my disc rolled away there." So I was like, "Okay, cool, thanks." Probably good etiquette if you're ever playing a tournament to not chirp people while they are putting out, unless you know them. Brianna with an unfortunate miss there. I know she's really mad now, but she did really play that hole amazing and just had some bad putting. But she's going to make that back, hopefully on the next hole. And then Erica as well, tapping in her 5. Kat tapping in her 4. A nice, beautifully played 4. And Alicia, just a stress-free 4. That was amazing. This is hole 11. We are 270 feet. It is a big hyzer. The play on this one is to skip it because you don't have a lot of ceiling, so you can't give it too much height. And it is very far left. So you do want to get to barely this dirt patch, skip it up just before the grass starts and skip it up over to the left. The best discs for skipping are distance drivers, but that is a risk where you might throw it a little too far, but they do have the best flare off them. And Kat going high, using every bit of height she can. She's going to be really happy with that. She's going to be out there for a look. It's hard to get too close to this basket. Alicia doing the play, the skip. Look at it slide all the way. You are going to want it to skip a little bit later than that, but that was beautiful. You could see how it just kind of coasted along the road there. And that is beautiful. That's kind of in between what Kat and Alicia did. Erica's throwing it just high enough to get around the bend and then skip. And that way it's flaring off to the left for her. Brianna hooking it a little right, but she slides down. That is beautiful because if you're up there, it's such bad footing. Nobody likes throwing another shot when they feel like they're going to fall off the hill. And I'm throwing a Thunderbird here, trying to do the same shot as Erica with that height. And then we just hope it skips. So Brianna, nice footing there. But at least she's not up the hill, and she's just going to have a simple hyzer. Beautiful run. That was very close with that berg again. And Erica's laughing about, I'm pretty sure this is almost the same spot she was in this morning. It's funny how consistent we can be. Ooh, really wanting that one. That was a beautiful run. Kat here is just off to the left of Erica. Similar distance. It looks so funny. Wally was right next to Erica while he was filming, and then moving back to film Kat. It looks so much farther away for Kat. But it is, I believe this is just outside the circle. And just off the rim. It looked like it was going to go in, but you know, those nubs, especially on the end of a basket where the bowl is, they can catch you and throw you in or catch you and throw you out. It's always funny to see the reaction of the disc on the basket. And Alicia with the closest drive there. That was a great, great drive. A good birdie putt. We are all just going to be looking for our pars here now. And those nubs almost got Brianna as well. So that was a par from Brianna. This will be a par from Erica. And a few more pars to tap in. So we are going to finish the round, or this half, these 11 holes, -6. For myself, Brianna is at -2. Kat at +3. Erica at +3. And Alicia at more than that. And that is going to be a mystery you can look up on live scoring if you want to check it out. Thank you so much for joining us. Please like and subscribe. We would love to have more beautiful content from Wally, and we really appreciate him coming out to do this women's event. Please stay tuned and check out the back 10. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Colleen McGinnis. See you next time.